Hello. I'm gonna stab you with a spoon if you don't change the title. I want my game back. It's so fucking funny, man. It's actually so good. Why is there a cucumber? Oh, bro doesn't know. I ate an entire one corn style on stream, buddy. Also, top tier Dratnos joke that Max is now qualified to play BM Hunter. Oh, I didn't listen to the podcast. Oh, I dealt with something else the other day too. Um, my phone got ruined. Uh, I had like Apple Care or whatever, so I got a new one. But I had to like get Verizon to put like my phone number and service on my new phone from my old one. And let me just fucking say, bro, if you guys are ever worried about like you think you might kill yourself, just under no circumstances should you be dealing with Verizon Wireless until you get over that. Cuz you'll fucking do it. You will do it. Sponsor check? I don't think we're sponsored by them anymore. I can double check though. That would be really bad if we were. Woohoo! Team Liquid sponsors. Nah, zero Verizon. We're hard chilling. It was so bad, bro. Basically, I was on the phone with them for 3 hours and I talked to four different people, and the reason that they couldn't put my service and stuff on my new phone was because they needed to send me a text to my phone number before they could do that. And obviously, maybe you're thinking right now, well, maybe you couldn't answer a text because you have a new phone and your old one was destroyed. Well, yep, that's correct. But there was no other way for them to do it. It's insane. Haven't you been through this before too? Yes. I went through something very similar last year when I got my new phone. And that was when I still had access to my old phone with the number currently on it. And it was still a problem. But this time I didn't even have that. It's just crazy that it isn't easier to do. There are situations so fucked. And you want to know how I know it's fucked? When I was doing all of this inside the Apple store, by the way. And they were I was like, "Is there anything you guys can do?" And then this guy talks to his buddy. He's like, can we do like a manual activation?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I can do that easy." And then the guy goes, "It's for Verizon." And then his demeanor instantly changed, and he goes, "Oh no, we no." Like that's how fucked Verizon is. He literally was just he went from like I can definitely do this to like please do not ask me to do this. I'm glad I hear you objecting against that tragic wording from Holly. Well, yeah, I want them to give me back my fucking game. It's run by fucking it's run by the fucking libs now. It's fucking woke. God damn it. I knew it was woke nonsense when they gave poors houses in the game. Yeah, it's fucking bullshit. They should have made only the elite get them. As things fucking should be. Ooh, Mike Griziak has entered World of Warcraft. Oh, he's a classic player. Max Stratner says you got a concussion. Yeah, I did. It wasn't like a bad one. It was basically I was playing in a pickup game I normally play in, and someone that I'm like pretty good friends with was on the other team, and we just had like a weird collision. Like neither of us were aware, basically like a freak thing. But what's important about that, it wasn't super hard. It didn't like hit my head. Well, actually, it did hit my head. But more importantly, is my body didn't know it was coming, so I couldn't brace for it. Um, so the symptoms were not that bad. So when I've had a like a real bad concussion before, I was like nauseous, like headlights from cars were like making me have to close my eyes. Like I had really bad light sensitivity. Uh, isn't bracing for it worse? No, like your neck specifically, you don't have to like hard brace for it and like tense up. But like when your brain knows something is coming, your neck will like stabilize your head. But if your neck doesn't know, like I'll give you an example. Here's a weird symptom I had this time. I couldn't like twist my back really without it hurting for like 2 days, which is because I had like spasms in my spine basically because it basically shook my neck and then my entire spine because I wasn't like aware that it was about to happen. Basically, it was it was not good. But I mean, it was actually a pretty mild concussion. I just had other issues from it. It wasn't even that bad, bro. But I feel I could feel completely fine now. But yeah, we're all getting older, dude. That's what I thought initially. Before I realized I had a concussion, I was like, bro, am I just getting old? And then I did some more research in it, and it was like basically every symptom I had led with a mild concussion, plus also the back thing commonly accompanies it when a hit happens that you don't see coming. It wasn't even a hard hit. Nothing about it was hard. It was just like weird. It was like disjointed and it hit my head first and I wasn't and no one saw it. It was weird. I could actually probably show it to you. I would have to go like find it. Max, is the Metzen hate the same as the Walmart hate? Dude. God, Chris Metzen is making me mad. God, dude. Remember when this game Sorry. You remember when this game used to be about war? All right, Mac. I can't believe Max took out Bart like that. What is all this Bart stuff? That was like 9 days ago. Did this get like? How is the bit still alive? It was like the top 3 comments on the Potty C when I just looked at it. YouTube video. Wait, did I make a YouTube video about Bart being dead? Well, he's not dead. Dude, we just mourn. Yeah, okay, sure. Here I am. It's what you all been waiting for. Seriously, at this point, just let the Titans wipe out all the bad characters, kill Azeroth, start a war again on the remaining resources, and deal with the aftermath that will create enough edge. Yes, dude. Yes. Bring war back. Yes, dude. Hey, Max, is your take that the game's vibe is similar to before and nothing has changed, or that people who like the old vibe are stupid? I just want them to bring the war back in Warcraft. Dude, I want to hear what Chris Metzen actually said. I actually didn't even read it. I just feel like it was something taken out of context, most likely. But we'll figure it out. He didn't speak. He was quoted as a joke by Holly. I will well fuck him then. He should have never fucking done that. He shouldn't have done that. How is your chat not trying to strangle you right now? Everyone that says they want Warcraft War to come back online gets lambasted. Because my chat's legit, bro. They just believe everything I say and they don't question it. I fucking love this shit. My chat knows what's been going wrong with the game. Body type 1 and 2? Bullshit. Fucking quest lines that aren't very masculine? Fuck that. Fuck it. We need to go back. The thing about the quote is that unless there is a different quote people are talking about, he said, I wish we didn't call it Warcraft not. We need to take the war out of Warcraft. But we knew we knew what he meant though. Dude, it's actually so funny. I think one of the someone had a really simple response, and I think it was the one that made the most sense, which is people are dying for a reason to be mad. I like what causes that? Like what makes people want it's like they just need to be fucking enraged at something. Why did Max finally get it fake a concussion? What is this Bart stuff? Okay, what YouTube video is happening? 1 second. I need to this has to be diagnosed. We're gonna figure out what the fuck you why thing. Dude, my mic is so fucked. I have a new one, but I just haven't bothered putting it on yet. All right. YouTube.com maximum clips, something like that. Maximum main channel. What is this bit? How far can the Race World First Guilds push add-ons? Where is the It's from the pod? It's a pod bit? The Quasi one had it too?
Max, what's the difference between Quasi UI and Azertharian UI?
Oh, dude, I haven't streamed since all that happened. In fact, our last podcast episode, which we should record tomorrow.
Oh, is there more of that? Like,
I saw yesterday, I saw Now's, there was basically someone on the WoW Reddit just, like, publicly leaking Now's UI, which he normally has paywalled. And all of the comments were fully supportive. Like, yep, fucking, he should not be able to do that. And they were just fucking linking it. And literally no one in there was like, this is the wrong thing to do. That's crazy. The people are over that shit for sure. Which is crazy because if this add-on shit hadn't happened, it would have kept continuing forever. But now that people are looking for UIs again, people are like, wait, doesn't this make no sense? Leak every paid UI. Yeah. Max, did you hear that Quasi is working for Riot now? I haven't heard anything. I haven't talked to that guy. I haven't heard anything about him now. Working for Riot is sweet, though. At least if he's on campus. That Riot campus is genuinely sick. It is fucking awesome. You've been there? Yeah, I've been there a couple of times. I went there once for just like a normal tour, and then, well, I just went once for a normal tour. Do you anticipate any of the WoW raid changes to affect the race? Nah. If he thinks the Blizzard bubble is toxic, the Riot bubble will wake him up quick. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Bruh, his ex was a Riot employee. Stop asking MMO stuff. I did used to date someone who worked at Riot, but so the MMO was recycled and restarted since I have been out of that relationship. So I actually genuinely don't know anything about the game. Like, even if you assume my ex-girlfriend knew a ton about the game and she told me everything, which genuinely isn't true. People in Riot, if you want to know about a game and you want to test it and be a part of it in Riot, you could do that. Like, if she was really invested in that, she could have been a part of all of that. As far as, like, she wouldn't have been a part of making the game, but, like, if you're a Riot employee working on anything, you can, like, you know the projects that are in development and you can, like, be a part of them and with playtests and stuff if you want to. She wasn't. So I knew nothing about it. But even if you think I did, if a game doesn't get greenlit at Riot, what they do is they basically start over. Sometimes they get an entire new dev team or keep some of it and recycle some of the others. And they basically start with a fresh vision. So there have been some games at Riot that are either currently still being worked on or have released that were in development for like 8 years. And they basically had versions of the game that were ready to be made. And then they were like asking themselves questions like, does this improve on what's already in the market? Is this unique? Is this good? Is this something we want to stand behind? And if the answer is like almost there, but no, they'll literally scrap all of it and just start over. and from what they've learned and just like and just make a new game or have a different vision or they cancel it or whatever. But the Riot MMO was pretty deep in development and whatever they had for it got canned. And that's why you guys heard maybe a couple years ago kind of the narrative was that it was being canceled. But that's not really it's not really the correct word for it. It's like that what they had been working on had been largely if not entirely scrapped, but they were not giving up on the MMO. They just restarted. So I don't. There's no way I could know um, anything about the game now. I mean, I guess I could, but I don't. One second, I'm getting a call from my neighbor. I just left my car door open in my driveway. W neighbors. Actually, no, that's not. The woke mob was coming for me, as you know. After what Riot did with Hightail, I'm very doubtful the MMO will be a hit or even come out. I have no information on what happened with Hightail or even what Hightail is, but they scrapped and restarted the MMO. But as far as I know, they're like actively hiring for it, so it's being developed. Right? I don't know how many cycles they've gone through of that, but I mean it's not uncommon for a game that Riot releases to go through a few of those. They have a lot of money to invest and reinvest in games to make sure it's exactly right and something they want to stand with. It's pretty common. Woke neighbor being polite. Real neighbor. What is this message? Would have stolen your car. Real man would have stolen your car. Yeah. Hell yeah. Max, do you think if Riot tries to make an esports event out of the MMO, like a race, you would do it? I think you're looking at it the wrong way. The reason that I did any of this WoW stuff was because I loved the game and was obsessed with it, and I had to compete at it, and I wanted to be the best at it because I liked it so much. Like, it's not like another game is just like, hey, we're going to have esports. And then I'm just like, yay, esports. I love esports. I would have to be like degenerately obsessed with the game to want to compete in it. And which means it would have to have better and more interesting combat and raids than WoW, which is, to be completely honest with you, like Riot fucking owns, right? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I think WoW just absolutely fucking crazy shits on every game in regards to that. Are you still obsessed with WoW? Uh, yeah, not in the same way. But yeah, I mean, the thing that made me obsessed with this was the rating and progression aspect. I'm obsessed with progression. Now, you might think that I don't do that now because I don't really log into the game much outside of it, but that's just because I do everything I like about the game, and then it happens to be over in 2 weeks, and then you cannot get that feeling anymore. It's gone. There's no more new content. It's over. Right. For example, if I loved rating and I loved progression, but progression took 2 months, I would be all in for 2 months. Right. It's over in 2 weeks. You could push MDI. MDI is kind of fun. I have done MDI multiple times. I just 5 mans don't do it for me. They're two different things. I've tried to explain this before, but I know it catches some people up. Like it messes with their head of like what I'm trying to say, but like the fact that you do the dungeons multiple times kind of doesn't do it for me. Like for raids, it's like all about being able to do this thing even once. Killing Dimensius the first time, killing Nexus King the first time, killing Sludge Fist the first time. That's the feeling. Every time you kill those bosses after that point is a means to an end. Dungeons are like really easy to figure out and really easy to complete. It's about doing them one key level higher over and over again. That to me doesn't scratch that itch as much as doing something that's almost impossible and doing it at all, rather than like doing it repetitively or trying to do it really fast. That's not the same thing. What happened with Chris Metzen? Well, the funny thing is basically nothing actually happened. But all of the coolest people that you know are not happy with him at all. Bart was the coolest person I know. Okay. Where does it
Stayed on
happen
it.
in here?
We did talk about like all the related gaming drama that was happening, but like the Quasi thing hadn't dropped yet. Like I think someone was like, "Yo, Quasi stole
Rip
some code,
Bart,
but
number
it hadn't
one
broke down
comment.
yet." And right after we recorded the podcast, Quasi like fucking instantly was like, "Fuck this, I'm quitting." And I haven't followed.
I can't. I would have to listen to this whole thing to get to it, and I can't. Unfortunately, I cannot react to myself. So he's making weak auras for Jesus now. All right, where was the Holly thing? Let's actually listen to it. Is it on Wowhead? Like, what was even the event or the reason this was even being talked about? It's a business interview. All right, Dork's got it. We have a bigger vision than simply being an MMORPG. Wait. Oh, sorry. This isn't player facing. This is literally talking business with businessmen. Okay, that literally explains everything. That literally explains everything. How all this reaction has been. Like people that are unable to understand how a business would talk about being a business and like mistakes they've made and stuff like that. I can almost see exactly where this is going. But let's see.
Warcraft itself is poised for growth. It's a fantastic IP.
I don't really understand the we're not simply an MMORPG, we want to be much more. And it's not talking about Blizzard, it's talking about Warcraft. But what do you mean by that? I actually, that actually, I don't even know what you're talking about with that.
Been underutilized, and I just want to bring it to as many people as possible.
We firmly believe that our best years are ahead of us. It's game design, but it's also social design, and it's trying to understand and think about how we meet a new generation.
Oh, like a Netflix series and stuff. Okay,
They
that's
are.
fine.
Hello and welcome to the Game Business Show with me, Christopher Dring. Now, the iconic World of Warcraft remains the biggest MMO in the world. It's now well over 20 years old and is about to launch its latest expansion, Midnight, next month. I've not actually caught up with the World of Warcraft team for a very long time, and things have changed quite a bit since I last did. They now make expansions a lot faster. They've changed their dev structure to be more reactive. They launched World of Warcraft Classic, a bit like old school RuneScape. It's a very old version of World of Warcraft, and that has a major impact on what they're doing with the modern game too.
The first question of this interview kind of sucks, but the rest of it is good. Any timestamps? Probably not.
So when Blizzard invited me to chat with executive producer and vice president for World of Warcraft, Holly Longdale, and game director Ian Hazekostas, I said, actually, yes, please, that would be quite interesting. Because I want to know, what is the future of Warcraft? How are they catering to the aging audience? What can we expect from Midnight? And what's changed now that they're part of Microsoft?
Yeah. So, what's interesting about the aging audience of WoW is... So yeah, I mean, if you're running a game... If you're running a business of any kind and you have like I think the MLB ran into this many years ago, like Major League Baseball in the US, where they just realized that like people that liked baseball were kind of just getting older and they had to like try to modernize it for younger fans. So like WoW fans right now, that's not a problem they really need to solve for a while. Like you want to solve it by you want to continue to grow your player base and stuff. But you know what's interesting about WoW? Like if you guys notice like children's YouTubers where they make like content like Mr. Beast type stuff, but not Mr. Beast specifically. He's remained very successful. But there's been like a lot of YouTubers and Twitch streamers that like do the really loud yelly thing that kids find funny. And then those kids grow up and they're no longer the new thing for like the new set of kids, and then their career just dies because 20-year-olds don't find that stuff funny anymore, right? The thing with WoW is it doesn't seem like people are growing out of WoW. Yes, the audience is aging. We're all old as fuck, right? But I still think people are married with kids in their 40s and are still playing the game. And that's one thing that I don't really know how much that needs to be solved. Like those people aren't like, well, I mean, some of them will be dying, but like aren't going to be dying of old age for like a long fucking time. So that's not something that's as like imminent and needs to be solved like other things are. Like it's almost ageless, right? It's not about Bart, bro. Okay. I don't know. Let's see.
Here's what Holly and Ian had to say. Hello, Holly. Hello, Ian. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello.
You're about to launch this big
You said the first
Midnight
question sucked.
expansion. I'm going to ask a very broad, general question, but how significant is this one? How does it compare to what you've done previously?
It's a big one.
Yes. It's also a continuum of the direction we're going in.
So
the
should I
World Soul
skip this?
Saga, this notion of having, a multi-expansion.
All right, what are we doing with that?
storyline is
Holly,
this notion of
let's relax for a second. What is the fucking light up plant?
having, a multi-expansion.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Storyline is something new for us, or was new for us when we embarked on this journey. At the same time, though, World of Warcraft is always World of Warcraft. We are telling stories where the world is evolving as we move forward. But obviously, we are focused, I'm sure we're excited to talk about that here, about where we're going with World of Warcraft over time. Everything you're seeing is a result of listening and
Excellent PR. She didn't really answer the question. She's like moving on to the thing that they wanted to talk about in this interview.
observing and
Absolute legend shit. I find it very
what
hard
the
to do
team is
that.
passionate about, what we see the players are passionate about, how we watch player behavior. Being mindful in terms of what makes it big, it's this ongoing process of watching player behavior, how gaming is changing, how our players are changing, as well as how they're staying the same, the things they will always want. But we're really excited about it. We want everybody to play World of Warcraft. We think it's beautiful.
Yeah, and I think with regard to Midnight, every World of Warcraft expansion is expanding our world. It's telling exciting new stories. It's offering a range of new experiences and challenges for players. But I think what makes Midnight pretty special is that this is introducing probably the biggest single feature we've ever added to World of Warcraft. And it's an entirely new way to play and experience the game. And I'm talking about our housing feature. In the past, you were wandering this world of Azeroth. You were exploring. You were, slaying dragons and getting epic loot and making friends along the way. But housing lets players own a piece of the world that they can customize and shape to be their home away
More
from
housing.
home.
Guys, you're going to keep hearing them talk about housing. Housing is a massive success for them, and they're going to keep talking about it. And not only that, I think housing is probably the biggest. Oh, getting another call. 1 second. All right, phone call over. It was quick. We had some Super Bowl plans, but Shroud texted me today to see if we wanted to do Well, I'm assuming he's gonna ask if we want to do Super Bowl at his place. But in classic fashion, he's doing it the day before, so like we're just trying to figure out what to do. I haven't seen him in a while since Disney. Anyways, you can tell Shroud is old because he calls his friend. Nah, he texted me. That was my girlfriend. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, housing. So this whole interview is business, right? They're trying to not impress, but like the people who listen to this are like business oriented. They're trying to impress those people. So they want to talk about things like growth and margins and stuff like that. And he already mentioned that has an aging audience. So what are they going to bring in new people? You better bet they're going to hit housing, because housing is genuinely... Is it the biggest thing that is going to bring in a non-WoW player to WoW right now than there has been in a long time, besides Classic? I think like Classic was pretty huge for that, but I mean, housing is like the thing that would do that.
And a new avenue for expression and a new avenue for connection. And this is something that we're introducing with an eye towards it not just being a centerpiece of Midnight, but really World of Warcraft going forward. All of our future expansions, everything we do is going to be interwoven through this system. And so it's exciting, a little bit terrifying rolling it out and seeing, millions of players jump in and begin to experience it. But it's probably, one of the biggest changes I can think of in the game's history.
It's like The Sims, really, and Animal Crossing, and a bit cozy gameplay. Is that a reflection of how your audience is changing? Or has it always been like that?
I think for us, it's acknowledging the audience that has been there. They've been asking for this for 20 plus years. And when I talked about observing player behavior, we know about our players. While we have a full range of ages, we know that people across the industry, gamers that is, they don't have a lot of time anymore necessarily. And we want to make sure we're respecting the ways they play. And things like housing allow you to come in, achieve something without pressure. And we see this more and more across the industry and even across our own players when we watch them play. So you're aware of this, Chris. When you first launch an expansion, we have a whole segment of players that come in and play through the campaign, and then they're happy. They got the story and they're happy. And then they get into a more casual space. Well, we want them to be able to come in and play, which is another reason why we created the live team, to be more reactive and have patches every 8 weeks or so.
One thing that's just been, I'm not really responding to them, but just as I'm going through the stream, seeing the first time chatters come in that don't realize that the title's a bit is fucking insanely funny. Like, just as a, it's so good.
Because they just want to be able to come in and experience something short term
Fucking
within
pussified
an
the
hour,
game,
half
bro.
hour. So we want to be cognizant of that, as well as, you know, frankly, we wanted it to, you know. While it's
not a
coming out
fucking bit.
now, Ian can speak to this in clearer terms, but there's been a number of people working on this for years and years because of their passion around it. So
Yeah, I think it's a feature that's been speculated about by players and asked for by some players, honestly, since WoW's earliest days. I mean, I've been on the team for coming up on 18 years at this point, and it's something that was being discussed internally as a potential idea for as long as I've been on the team. But it always felt a bit too big. It always felt just out of reach, because fitting a feature of this scope into a single
You tell me people in Liquid are happy with what Chris Metzen said? Fuck no. We want our fucking game back.
expansion, just the development cycles didn't work out. So what
We
we
want our
ultimately
fucking
ended
game
up
back.
doing was devoting multiple expansions worth of development time to make it everything it needs to be in order to meet players' expectations and exceed them. And I think, you know, so far it's been really
What did he say? Well, the funny thing about that is
I
nothing.
think seeing people jump in. Getting back to the question about player
didn't
motivations
say
and
anything.
audience, you know, I think it's a mix of kind of broadening our reach and trying to offer, you know, new motivations, a new type of gameplay. But it's also about, I think, serving players and motivations that have been there since day one. Like from the earliest days of World of Warcraft, we've had vibrant roleplay communities that aren't going out and playing our dungeons that we made for them. They're telling their own stories with each other. They're interacting with each other. And that's almost in spite of us not giving them many tools and a framework within which to do that. Players have always, you know, been drawn to socialization, to cosmetic customization, to self-expression. And I think this is pulling all of those motivations together. And I think we're excited to really be able to truly serve this audience that has always existed and been a huge part of World of Warcraft's history.
Yeah, next part.
But now can kind of be front and center when it comes to this portion of the game.
You know, now that more of I think about it, though, I don't know how many people were looking for this, and then like, has WoW gained players from the housing thing for sure? I think especially maybe from other MMOs that have housing, but it's just not as good as what WoW made. But I don't think there's a lot of people from outside this genre. I think it's definitely much more serving. Okay, I don't think it's new players. I think housing probably brought back a lot of old WoW players. And it's like one of those things where it's making your sub more valuable, especially for that kind of player. But I think the main thing housing does really well is it doesn't just let you make your house and you're done with it. You're like, it brings back the collector in you. Oh, now I have to get all these decor things, or decor as Dradnos keeps calling them. And it makes you interact with every other part of the game, and maybe starts having you get achievements again, because you might as well do it at the same time, and mounts and all that stuff, right?
Holly, I like what you talked about, these sort of people with less time, and we're actually seeing that, particularly as you look at the data, and the industry's aging, right? We're not kids anymore. People have less time, and it must be true of your audience as well. I imagine you're bringing in new people all the time, but I imagine that how old World of Warcraft is now as a franchise, you must be having it where some of your core, most avid players just don't have that much time or play in different ways than they used to.
1,000%. And I think it's interesting too that there's so many aspects of this game that do largely address that. For example, when we look at guilds and weekly rating, having a schedule, you know, you can kind of build some of your life around, enables that kind of gameplay, which I think is fantastic. We didn't necessarily do that at the casual end of the scale. And that's why we're really excited about housing, given that housing reaches through every gaming segment we have in our game, between casual and people who, you know, we lovingly call them mid-core.
I've always wondered what exactly that means. I was, the first time I heard mid-core was in Final Fantasy, actually, and it was from like talking to high level players, and they were talking about people who don't like play all day every day. Like mid core to them was like raiding 3 or 4 days a week. And I'm just thinking, like, there's a lot of people who raid 4 days a week in WoW that are not mid core WoW players. Like that's like on the harder core side, right? I guess it's a relative term, but
it is about time. We've got a lot of players that say to us, I want to play with my kids now. Like, give me something I can do and play with my kids or play with my partner. We have so many players, and now the ability to really dig into how they play. It's given us a lot of really interesting opportunities to be able to, you know, broaden, to Ian's point. We are aiming at a game that's approachable for anyone. This idea of a third space that you can come and hang out, and it's not necessarily just standing there staring at each other. You can go do housing, you can go collect things for housing, you can go raid, you can dungeon. You know, we're looking at different ways with the time you have available to have options that feel meaningful. Delves are another part of that. I'm really proud of how the
you are in the 1% if you play Mythic. 1%. Mythic is, I mean, there are literally statistics about this. I think Mythic is much more than 1%. It is below 10 though. But yeah. I the last time I remember seeing this was Castle Nathria. And it was like, of what percentage of people have killed a Mythic boss at all? Now you're not saying getting cutting edge. You're saying like interacting with Mythic in any way. It's a lot higher than 1%. 5% of the player base does Mythic Raid. Yeah. Something like that. Someone could find some actual numbers about it, though.
team has crafted a response to how players are changing and what they're asking for.
I like the idea that at some point in the probably not too distant future, you're going to have a generation of players that grew up with World of Warcraft,
like 1% is
retiring,
getting cutting edge. I think, yeah, something like that.
And you're going to have a very active audience with lots of time on their hands, and they want they want a very different thing.
Yeah, and I think we also too, like in our meanderings and aspirations.
Someone should find there's sites that do stuff like this, where it's not super accurate. Because there's no, like, Blizzard doesn't officially report these things, but it's like, of the accounts that are of max level, or I think it's not even accounts, I think it's characters that are at max level, like how many interact with stuff like this.
You know, we look at other games that have, you know, a lot of younger players, and they're going to grow up. And why can't we be there to meet them? Yeah. You know, as they...
That's surprisingly high to me, but still not high. Anyone in Mythic is hardcore. I think anyone who's doing more than the first boss in Mythic, I mean, again, this is all relative terms. You guys can come up with whatever you want, but like, I think for a lot of people, like, for example, do you think AOTC is hardcore? Maybe, right? But the reason why I say going into Mythic at all isn't necessarily hardcore is maybe you could do the first boss on Mythic. I think the first boss on Mythic is historically easier than the last boss on Heroic, and sometimes gets better loot, and a lot of people that do AOTC do the first boss on Mythic. So, like, I don't consider that to be even Mythic, but it is literally Mythic. Part of the issue with this is that Mythic, as a difficulty setting, the difference between the easiest boss on Mythic and the hardest boss on Mythic probably is like 3 or 4 different actual difficulty levels, but it's all called one thing. But yeah, if you're talking about doing Mythic at all, I'm talking about that. I think more often than not, someone who gets AOTC also does the first boss on Mythic, and I don't think that AOTC is hardcore. But this is all subjective anyway.
Fans. So we're thinking pretty broadly, but not so broadly that we're scattered. Once we make a decision, we are very committed to it. I think housing, to Ian's point, is an expression of that, you know, one of the biggest fears when we're talking...
Someone said, I bet 10% of people who do AOTC do Mythic first boss. Oh, that's so interesting. Why would that be? Oh, is it because of group size? Because a lot of people do like sub 20 player AOTCs because of flex, that like, oh, that makes sense. Like, for example, if AOTC was 20 man, I think like almost every single AOTC group would do the first boss on Mythic, because it is literally easier than the last boss at AOTC and it gives higher item track, right? But you're right that like some people probably wouldn't do that because now it means you have to get 7 more players or some shit, and that's like really annoying.
Talking about is like we can't launch it if it isn't great. Because that's not who we are nor who we want to be. But we do want to be creative about how we deliver for the variety of players that do love WoW, and those we hope will love it in the future.
I think breadth really is the key there. It's less about change in the sense of moving away from something and becoming something different, and more about, being broader and more approachable in our offerings and meeting people where they are. I think we already do have
but I don't want it to appeal to other people. I want it to appeal to me.
Of young students who may have all the time in the world to dive
Fuck
into
everyone
World
else,
of Warcraft. I think 20 years ago there was the sense that from a lot of people the game might be something that appealed to them, but they thought they're like, I don't have the time for this. World of Warcraft is a game that's going to be all consuming, and if you can't spend dozens of hours a week, there's no point. That is not what we are anymore. It's not what we've been for a long time. But we still have that depth for those who want it. It is a game that can be experienced in bite-sized chunks. If you only have 20 minutes to play, you can accomplish something and move your character forward.
Huge mistake. Make the game too broad until it appeals to no one. Yeah, I mean, I bet that's something they think about all the time. Like, dude, I've been thinking about this going into midnight. Like, there's a large amount of people that I hear from, which again is a very small portion of the actual game, and it's very important to remember that, where Midnight doesn't seem that awesome. You want to know why? Because they kind of cooked your UI. Although I do want to mention, just for all the people that are on pre-patch right now and are like, this shit sucks, it is a lot better in beta. Like, I don't know why they made beta so much better than pre-patch. I guess it's like they met some cutoff deadline or something, but like there's like not even it runs better, but there's literally more functionality on beta for a lot of add-ons and stuff. Like a lot of stuff we're planning on using doesn't even work in pre-patch. But I don't really know why that's a thing. It's just a bad first impression. But regardless, it's much worse than it was previously. And a lot of class changes, if you play this game at a high level, are negative. So what are you getting in the new expansion? Okay, well, I have a shitty UI now. Oh, and it's housing. Well, what if you don't care about housing? If you're a lot of people I hear from are like, I don't really care about housing. I just care about gameplay. And it feels like that's really not getting much meaningfully better. We're just here, and yeah, those people are not happy with it, but also those people represent a very small, as we've been talking about, represent a very small portion of the game.
Or a weekend or a vacation or whatever, and you want to go deep, that's there as well. And
but
so
it's a lot of you all.
That's kind of been our approach to make sure that we are growing up with our players, but also remaining approachable and exciting for new generations and for everything in between.
How is the objective to sort of deliver faster expansions? I know that's been going on a while now, but how has that been going? Have you learned
I'm
anything
interested in this.
unexpected from that?
I'm not sure I'd say unexpected. We've learned a lot. It's very challenging. It is a trillion-piece puzzle, and I think just organizationally, the team changed a lot.
What is Holly's role again? Anytime I see Holly announcing or really talking about things in depth, it is definitely leans more classic related. But I believe she is in a position above Ian that kind of generally oversees WoW as a whole. But for me, I see her as more of someone who leans classic, just from what I've heard her talk about, basically. She's an executive producer. Okay, that's a hard title because there's a lot. Like, for me, when I think executive producer, I think of like all the people's names at the end of movies that like were not very involved, but then like the very first person that's an executive producer was like extremely involved, right? It's a title that I don't understand. She makes all final decisions on WoW. Oh, Jesus.
So we could bring focus. So we
she's
have
the
actual
boss.
teams dedicated to each expansion and dedicated to live, and we have a team dedicated to housing. We are a pretty large scale team, But when you look at the pieces of the teams that create the product, they're sort of average size.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like, I just don't really like, because like for example, Ian, I know I've literally spoken to him about a lot of this stuff. Like, I know what he does. I just don't know what she does.
But for our ability to be able to speed up expansions a bit,
I'm sure she does a
it
lot.
hasn't been easy, but my goodness, how they've taken the challenge. We always go through this on this team, and I couldn't love them more for it. We scope things so that they're reasonable and doable, and they always do more than we expect. Sometimes, I mean, most of the time they tell Ian. But a lot of the time they're, hey, I added this thing, because that's the level of passion that is required, not the time, the passion. They find ways to do things without too many compromises to themselves. They're just so creative and innovative and passionate about what they deliver to players to always give them that 20% more somehow. So I think in what we've done, I think as we go through it, Ian, we forget that we're shaving time off for the good of the players.
Yeah.
It isn't easy, but the process has remained relatively similar. It's just around focus, like Metzen, Ian, and, you know.
I mean, isn't it pretty simple? They used to ship out 3 seasons and a faded season, which there's now no more faded seasons. They used to ship out 3 seasons in 2 years. And now they're doing 3 seasons in around 18 or 19 months. Isn't it just they just have to do everything but faster, or they have to cut things, or things? I mean, there's when you're trying to shove a certain amount, like a mass, into a, like, oh, this is, never mind. I was gonna give an analogy that a lot of you guys were going to make very sexual, but you're gonna get the point. Like, you're trying to do the same amount of thing in less time. Something is going to be sacrificed. The amount of content or the quality of the work, for sure.
Have a core crew at the beginning of any expansion. Like 13 is already well underway. Lost Titan's well underway, and we're thinking beyond that. It requires that kind of focus and planning in order to make this real, so that
Process
people do have
improvements
the
are
time
huge.
and the agency to create what they want to
But
create.
I imagine
with them.
efficiency is only going to get you so
if
far,
I were to
right?
say we learned anything, it's really how to be sharp and be clear with a pretty large team about what we're doing, what we hope they can do as we move forward.
Simplest terms are that Ian and Metzen are the lead design bosses, but Holly can tell
more
them no.
communication. Yeah.
The focus hasn't necessarily been on faster expansions per se. It's more been on a steady delivery of content to players without gaps. And I think 10 years ago, it was almost taken as a given by our community.
People trashing this woman for doing business speak in a business interview. Oh, yeah, but I mean, people are going to do that, though. Like, someone's going to come across this video because they saw it linked because people were getting mad about it, and they're going to listen to this interview as if they are speaking to the player. This interview is almost exclusively speaking to someone who, like, follows game design business. That is, I mean, that's the name of the show. I bet this person's audience is largely interested in that. I bet almost all of their guests are talking about topics like this. This is not an interview for the WoW player. That's just simply not who the audience is. So they're going to be speaking differently, right?
That at the end of a given expansion,
but I mean, it's just simply not going to. You can't expect players to know that, though, right? Like, that's
be a 6-month drought with nothing new in World of Warcraft, and like that was objectively unfair to our players, and something that we've been working for a long time to try to fix. I think from my perspective, the one biggest change, along with, you know, just very rigorous planning and pre-planning, I think has been investing in our leaders. I think at times in the past, we've tried to grow the team, thinking, all right, let's bring more people on to deliver more content.
Dude, that's what I thought too, was a noob business person. Oh, you're not getting this content done in time? We'll hire a bunch more class developers, hire a bunch more raid designers. And I just didn't really know how little that made sense.
And with fewer gaps. But there were still, you know, when we tried this years ago, we still ran into the same bottlenecks in terms of approval, of creative direction, of game direction, of decision making. And I think our focus in the last few years has really been on building empowered, strong, creative leaders, people who understand the spirit of World of Warcraft and can make decisions and keep things moving forward so that we can work on multiple things in parallel and keep content flowing into our players' hands. I think for those who've been following World of Warcraft press for a long time, past leaders have talked about the goal for faster expansions, I think, as long as I can remember. Before I even worked at the company, there were people talking about annual expansions like in the Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King era. But I think what that always ran into was, again, these bottlenecks where because everyone was focused on one thing and making it great, the next one along the line withered and was delayed. And I think what, we are, as we release Midnight in a few weeks, this will be the fastest expansion we've ever made.
It's crazy.
In terms of the shortest gap between expansions. We've had regular 8-week content updates all along the way. No corners cut, no compromises in terms of what we're delivering to our players, and no sacrifices to quality. And I think most importantly, perhaps...
I don't know. So, like, housing has been this thing that they have been working on for many, many years. From a different studio. Like, as far as I know, housing was not made by anyone that's been, like, on with their boots on the ground making the past few expansions in this game. And then... if you take housing out of this expansion, I think it'd be pretty hard to make the argument that there weren't compromises. It certainly feels like there are. Like, let's take The Last Titan. Is that the name of the last expansion of this saga? I think it is. Midnight Last Titan. If there's nothing huge like housing in Last Titan, and they accomplish the same amount of things, you would absolutely say there's compromises. Like, basically... the only argument you can make against that is housing, but that shouldn't have affected any of the work that anyone has been doing for the normal game in between, right? And it feels like there's absolutely compromises, honestly.
No sacrifices to team health.
Yep.
I think I can truly say, which may be a rarity in the game industry, but thankfully that's starting to change more. This is an expansion that was made without crunch. This was an expansion that was made without telling the team, all right, we need to come in weekends and stay late and work harder. We did this smarter.
I saw a funny, was it JB's tweet that was like, maybe next time we have a little crunch. That was pretty fucking funny. Because, like, obviously there's been a lot of, like, game designers had a pretty bad reputation for working the shit out of their employees. It's been a hard industry to work in, and you work super long hours, and there's a lot of pushback against that. Like, treat your employees right. And now that WoW's expansion isn't amazing for a lot of gameplay focused players, people are like, well, maybe a little abuse
instead of pushing our team
maybe,
in unsustainable
maybe
ways.
a little bit.
So at the end of the day, we're going to keep making this game for years and years and decades. And this is a marathon, not a sprint. And we need to treat it accordingly, both when it comes to supporting our team and supporting our players.
Dude, you scared the fuck out of me with that title? What do you mean? I mean, I am 100. I stand behind my title 100%.
Well, that's a very thorough answer. I like that.
It's not a
any
fucking
follow-up questions
joke,
I
bro.
might have had were summarily handled. Well, one thing I'm always fascinated with, because I live in Cambridge, so I live near Jagex, and their thing with RuneScape and RuneScape, old school RuneScape, I find that absolutely fascinating. I know that's completely transformed that company, and obviously I've not spoken to you since the classic version of World of Warcraft, which was just ages ago now. But so I'm interested to know what
it's
you learned from that. What's
truncating.
that
Before
done?
I clicked the stream, I only saw Chris Metzen is dead. Oh, shit. Does it actually say that? That's not good. Okay. How can I rephrase this? I'm going to just simply put it at the front. I'm just going to change the ordering of the stream. Yeah, that'll fix it. I don't I don't want to keep saying people are dead when they're not.
Since bringing that out.
Oh, classic?
Yeah.
That was my
Wait,
start.
let me let him rephrase the question.
Formed that company, and obviously I've not spoken to you since the classic version of World of Warcraft, which was just ages ago now. But so I'm interested to know, what have you learned from that? What's that done since bringing that out?
Oh, classic?
Yeah.
That was my starting point. on World of Warcraft, I think a few months after it launched. I think for the internal team, it was unexpected. For those of us on the outside, it was like, well, obviously, but the scale and scope of it outpaced anything anyone could imagine, not just in numbers.
That's surprising.
But in audience and passion. They are completely different for the most part than modern players.
Oh, sounds
Yeah.
good.
They behave differently. They want different things. We don't have a
Tell you
whole
what, I
lot
don't
of
want any
crossover
fucking
between both
changes.
games.
Really?
So that team
If
is
they put housing in Classic at any point, I will literally blow the fuck up.
listening very keenly to
That
that
is not
audience,
how
and
it
they
was.
always have. Even in terms of pacing of patches, and it's all very engineered for the audience that is specific to Classic.
Oh, wow.
And then, in my early times, especially when I came to Classic from the outside, seeing this amazing transformation, obviously in partnership with Ian the entire time and the rest of the leadership team, is this idea of, can we as World of Warcraft do a bit of
Okay. I know I randomly mod people for doing random stupid things. I've very scarcely given someone mod for a good reason. But I promise you I've never seen the name tattoo on my bussy before. Where the fuck? What? How did that happen? How? You've been following for the last 3 years. What did you say to make me mod? You had to have changed your name, bro. Please tell me you changed your name. I would have remembered that for sure. I'm pulling his logs up. I'm looking at him right now. But none of it is bad or weird. You did for a laugh on a different stream. Okay. Cool. I'm not crazy.
experimentation, because we hear what they want. Can we do this idea of seasons for Classic just to get a picture? What do they really want? And in some cases, they created it themselves, like hardcore.
Wait, you
And we
watch
thought
other streams?
The ability to pivot
You're unmodded.
on the Classic team and create hardcore and launch it as an official
You're only
realm,
allowed
like
to watch
that,
my
me,
streams every 7 to 9
That's
days.
what we're aiming for, is reactivity
in between,
to
no
what
streams.
the players, not just those who create it themselves, what we're hearing, where the trends are, what the mood is. And I think, some of them are bigger lists, like housing. And Classic, it's on a long journey of, I hate to say discovery given season of discovery, but it is.
Max, are you really annoyed by the war comment? I can't tell if you're serious. Yes.
We're in
I'm just struggling to find the
a
words.
very exploratory space with Classic,
Oh,
and we are listening. But it has, at a foundational level, changed how the WoW team thinks about the content they create and make, in that it can be reactive while they are committed to what Classic is. Like, there's Era that is the unchanged version of Classic. And then we have Progression, which is reliving how expansions roll out. And we were completely staggered that for the anniversary rollout, that was just as popular as anything else we've done. And in my own history in this MMO industry, there is this group of players that cycle over cycle will keep doing it and want to relive those moments, those day one moments and, year one moments. So again, very different behavior than modern,
wow.
different ethos. And so those teams are obviously separate because their focus is entirely different.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Has Blizzard ever called it retail? Or have they only ever called it something else? Is retail purely a community-driven term? They call it modern or live WoW or something. They call it modern WoW. Do you think it bothers them that literally no one else calls it that and they all call it something different?
Yeah.
So I know we're not talking about Classic really.
It's
but
called
I just find it
retail in the
fascinating, 'cause
files.
Jagex barely
Oh,
changed
shit.
anything in old school RuneScape. They've been they're terrified of upsetting that core players, like someone like 70% or whatever of people have to agree
Yeah.
to any changes they make. And it sounds like you've got almost multiple different versions of how you approach it, which is even also interesting, fascinating.
That's how we started. Like when we first relaunched Classic in 2019, the mantra at the time was like literally hashtag no changes. It's what our community wanted.
I don't
The
want to see
community
a
viewed
single
this
fucking change, by the way. I will lose it.
2004 game as the perfect game. And we went out of our way to even reproduce bugs and to reproduce quirks in the game.
In combat.
After I think once a community was playing the game, now it's a living organism. And like any MMO, it belongs to them as much as it does to us. And I think they came to the realization that like, no, there are areas where they would like to see change. They would like to see some things tweaked. And I think that gave the team license to begin to experiment. And yeah, it's just been a fun example of the broadening of the opportunities and avenues that we try to offer to the World of Warcraft community. I mean, they are largely separate games at this point, largely separate communities, but all part of, like all under this World of Warcraft umbrella and part of our community worldwide.
Fascinating. You've been part of Microsoft now for quite a while. They've obviously got a load of things they do when it comes to servicing, but you obviously are even more experienced in many other ways than they are. How have you found life under there? There's been a lot of collaboration, a lot of working together.
I think honestly, one of the best things about it has been,
Hopefully what she says is they just let us do our thing.
you know, like we get on calls with the Elder Scrolls team, we talk to them, we get insights from Minecraft and chat with them, and it does unlock all this opportunity that probably would have been there if we made the phone call. But other than that, we don't really feel their presence. Like we don't feel a Microsoft presence. I think they've been very trusting and supportive of the work we're doing. To say the phrase, you know, keep cooking, like keep doing what you do. And we're doing that with insights and sharing knowledge with other teams and having visits with them. And I think that's one of the joyous things. And the other side of it too is looking at all the opportunity that, you know, being part of Microsoft can deliver for our players. Like where are the opportunities there for, you know, as we want to grow. And there's, you know, probably some obvious glaring topics in there, but that to me is where the opportunity lies. I've only seen it so far consequential only in the positive way. They've been inclusive. We get to hear and see really cool things that are coming up that we wouldn't see otherwise.
Oh, great.
But obviously it's the connections and learnings, especially from Elder Scrolls and Minecraft and other live service games where, you know, what can we share? What can we learn? Where are we going? What are we seeing? It's fantastic.
Okay. I'm going to go back to something you said earlier, which was around sometimes you just want to try stuff. I'm interested in this because obviously you want to listen to the players. That's the whole strategy. If you've got a successful live service business, you listen to the players, you react to the players, and that's what we've talked about throughout this whole chat. But also, you're creators, you're artists, right? You want to come up with new ideas and innovations and stuff. You want to give players things they didn't even realize they wanted, right? So how do you strike that balance between wanting to create and innovate and just break stuff? And obviously also...
Well, I mean, I think that's like also impossible. Like doing what the players want in WoW is crazy because there's just like 10 different factions of player that all want something completely different, and they can give a faction something they want and everyone else is like, didn't want that. So there's nothing they can put in the game that is universally like everyone's like, yes, this is what we wanted. They can only give something to small groups at a time, which will make everyone else mad.
The most important thing, which is making sure we react to what they're saying.
I think listening to players is less about hearing them say, we want X, and then going and making X. It's more about them telling us what they enjoy, what they're frustrated with, what they wish there was more of, and both, you know, telling us through forums, through social media, through in-game feedback, but also just through data, through their behavior, and making sure we have, you know, good analytics so that we're understanding what our silent majority or plurality of players are actually doing with their time, the people who aren't necessarily going to forums or to X or whatever to talk to us. And then, yeah, just trying to serve those motivations. I think one of the most exciting features that we've added to WoW in recent years, Holly referenced it earlier, it was a feature called Delves that we added in the War Within expansion.
Yes, dude.
That are basically, you know, very dynamic.
Prime example, Delves are completely nothing to me. over the course of this expansion, Dratnos, Dorky, and I have felt similarly about them and started a podcast with like, I don't know, man. It kind of seems like delves suck because that's what we think. That's what players like us think, and that's what people we talk to and play with think. And then you look at the comments for our YouTube video, which obviously represents a much more diverse much more diverse audience, and they're like, "You guys are fucking stupid. These are great." And then we're like, "Okay, well, you know,
small group.
sometimes you just don't get it."
That rather than needing a pre-made group to do, you can just do on your own in your own time. That's not something players were explicitly asking for, but what we were seeing was that there were tons of players who played solo, who maybe played with a single friend, who
You're in a bubble. Yeah, exactly.
Engaged with the game deeply, but then kind of hit a wall at our end game where it felt like you needed to join a large group in order to progress further, in order to do anything. And so, understanding that gap, understanding this audience's need is a big part of what led us to say, okay, we're going to prioritize really adding a true deep end game for them. And that's become and remains a pillar of World of Warcraft today and going forward. And I think it's something that, some players, it was interesting to see a lot of our loudest players, frankly, a lot of our influencers, content creators, were skeptical about the feature when it was initially announced because it wasn't for them.
Right.
They were already enjoying going into raids with 15 other people or whatever, and kind of wondered, like, why is Blizzard wasting their time on this thing? Turns out delves are, one of the most popular features we've ever made. They just weren't aimed necessarily at our hardcore audience, but it's what players needed.
Yeah, that must be difficult when you've got so many different.
He's not talking about me, chat. Right? Like he's talking about someone else.
Audiences, all different shapes and sizes, all wanting different things.
It's hard. It's really
He
hard
actually
not to
probably was picturing me when he said
react
that.
and
That
not to
actually makes me the most
overreact.
mad.
So, grateful that we have all these avenues to collect data so we can try and get the true story, not the story of the moment,
And I think it's one of the hallmarks of World of Warcraft. I think from a developer's perspective, boy, is it challenging. It would be so much simpler if we could just pick one or two play styles and say, okay, we're going to make the game for these players and we're going to hyper serve them. And it would be much easier for everyone and it would be a far worse game. And I think part of the magic of World of Warcraft is that you can have a dozen different people who all identify as serious WoW players. You could sit them around a table and ask them what it is that they like about the game and what they do when they log in, and you could hear a dozen different stories. But all of those people cohabit the same interconnected MMO world, and that world is so much richer for all of those different perspectives than it would be if we just picked one or two play styles.
Dude, speaking of that, that's like basically what Fellowship. That's basically what Fellowship is, right? Like they Did Tattooed Bussy just gift a tier sub to Tattoo on my Bussy? Why do I have to read these names out loud? What is happening in this stream? But yeah. That's basically what Fellowship is, right? Like Fellowship took a small part of the game of WoW and we're like, we're going to make the game only for this. Now, unfortunately, that's also proving the other point where I think Fellowship might die, even though Fellowship is awesome and it's exactly what I want. It might die because of the point he's making.
And said, okay, we're going to cater to those at the expense of everything else.
And I just
Fellowship will at least have one more season, which I'm really looking forward to.
How do we?
I'm going to play it a lot because I don't know if it'll last one more.
As creators are doing what we think players want. And we have all this information at our backs, but really, like, even when we talk about the inception of an expansion, if we take Last Titan for example, it's sitting in a room and it's like, we're gamers, we love WoW, what do we want to see? Like, what do we want this game to do? And we go through like what's gonna make us sit up and notice, not just our player base, but what are we super passionate about? And you get incredible ideas that are innovations grounded in a passion for the game.
You gotta wail out to keep it alive, bro. It's not single-handedly on me to wail out. What is there even to? What can you spend, dude? I would let me buy gems. I will keep your game alive, my dude. Just fucking give me something to buy.
And where we see the world can evolve a little bit for players. So there is absolutely room. I'm really proud of the team and the fact that we go in informed. So these aren't whims. They're based on a foundation of solving a problem, which our team is incredibly good at.
Is this a react? No, it's happening in real time.
Chat, getting insight into how you're working and the team and all of that. But I'm interested to know then and obviously I'm not asking for a detailed roadmap here, but I often say, what's the 5-year plan? What's the 10-year plan? I guess if you can have a 10-year plan in video games, I don't know if that's remotely possible. But like, what's the long-term vision of where you'd like to end up?
I mean, top line, we want everybody to be able to play WoW. We think, I will say this for myself. I think Warcraft itself is poised for growth. It's a fantastic IP. I think, in my humble opinion, it's been underutilized, and I just want to bring it to as many people as possible.
I mean, that's a pretty fair thing to say. It's been underutilized. Like, could they have had a successful, really well-made arcane like show made with WoW? That's probably what she's talking about. Maybe, probably, yeah. Or like, and we would all hate this, but like a really successful mobile game, probably. But like, kind of glad they didn't do that.
And that means,
actually, no, fuck that. I'd whale out on a WoW mobile game. Fuck
evolving what Warcraft means, what it is, and where it's going. We want it to be approachable.
No, not Rumble. Like,
and that's also part of it. Even with Chris Metzen,
I did whale out on Rumble.
Sometimes he's like, "Man,
Rumble
I wish
was pretty
we
fun.
called it Warcraft. It sounds kind of intimidating." I'm like, nobody really thinks that about Warhammer. It's just it's an understood name, essentially. So this idea of third space in our online worlds, we couldn't even define what that means exactly, but we're working on figuring that out.
I'm not actually really following what she's saying. One second.
Many people as possible. And that means, evolving what Warcraft means, what it is, and where it's going.
Okay.
We want it to be approachable. And that's also part of it. Even with Chris Metzen, we talk about, sometimes he's like, "Man, I wish we hadn't called it Warcraft. It sounds kind of intimidating."
Bro. Fuck, bro. Come on. What the fuck is that? What's that, dude? Not in my fucking game. I'm standing the fuck up. Fuck, dude. Let me hear that again.
Like, nobody really thinks that about. Also part of it, even with Chris Metzen, we talk about, sometimes he's like, "Man, I wish we hadn't called it Warcraft. It sounds kind of..."
The game's fucking woke, bro. Fuck. I had to hit a quick spin. Let me hit this fucking... Alright, we're good. We're fucking good.
Intimidating. Like, nobody really thinks that about Warhammer. It's just, it's an understood name, essentially. So this idea of third space in our online worlds, we couldn't even define what that means exactly, but we're working on...
What is she saying right here?
Figuring that out.
It feels like... It feels like she lost her train of thought and is making shit the fuck up right now.
This idea of third space in our online worlds, we couldn't even define what that means exactly, but we're working on figuring that out. We want people to come in and hang out and have birthdays, have weddings, have raids, grand adventures, play with their friends, meet new friends, like all the things that traditionally for over 20 years World of Warcraft has been good at. And at the same time, we want to take advantage.
I mean, I get why she's saying, like, people do that, right? Like, there's, like, funerals and shit like that in game. Like, but it kind of sounds like she's going metaverse a little bit. which I think was like what everyone was doing a couple years ago, but that was kind of a tough look.
Of 20 years of stories that have been told and not told, and start bringing it out
Guys,
to
Bart
the world
isn't
in a
dead.
broader way. Like, that's my goal and vision. I know Ian supports it. And, you know, when we do hear these impassioned cries from, you know, parents who are like, please, let me play this game with my kids. I just want to hang out with my kids. And I don't want to do it in other games. I want to do it in the game I love. And so that's a minor seed of the vast, you know, potential garden of, you know, people who love incredible challenges. Like, what are we going to do for them in the future? How do we roll in the community? And, you know, one of the lovely things about housing that's a reminder to us is, you know, we only kicked that off in earnest in December to have people filtering into it. And just to see there's now a whole community forming around how to make stuff.
It's like I'm finding a very hard time following what she's saying.
That to me is the beauty of MMOs. It becomes.
Can someone like summarize what she's saying? Like, what is she saying they should do? Kids are what happened. Oh, I can't believe I almost read that message. Jesus. She wants kids to be able to play. I mean, that's her job, right? Isn't it? Like, wouldn't the biggest success ever for someone in her position be making a decision that makes a younger generation actually want to play this game? It's like, I get that's why that's her focus. But part of me thinks that I don't realistically think that will happen. I think in Classic it kind of did. Like, I know a lot of Classic got a younger audience involved. Every now and then I run into someone who's like in their young 20s, or like, for example, I play hockey with a 19-year-old that just fucking loves retail Mythic Plus, right? Just like randomly shit like that, right? But it's not like super widespread. So it's like, it does happen. It just like doesn't get into the hands of a lot of people, and it's not culturally significant. Yeah, I don't know. The thing that I find fascinating about WoW is I think it's retaining a lot of its players, and it's doing a really good job of bringing a lot of its old players back. I think Classic has really done that. I don't think it's something where if you don't get younger, it's gonna die. I think WoW's gonna keep a lot of its players. So I don't know. Plus, what are kids these days into, right? It's all less long form, more short form, less attention span. Doesn't like MMOs kind of directly go against the grain of that? It's kind of, you're fighting a losing battle of trying to have the fucking skibbity toilet dudes get into leveling 1 to 60 in Classic World of Warcraft. Like, it's kind of hard. But maybe it swings back, right? Like, maybe society swings back on it, right? Like, people have had enough short form to where they actually like really enjoy longer form, well thought out things, right? I think that could maybe happen. It's not happening right now, but I could see that happening, and then that would be something that people would like. But I don't know. What she is saying and why it is difficult to communicate is that MMOs are living worlds where things constantly change and emerge, which means that a core part of both developing and envisioning the future for them involves allowing yourself as a company designer to go where players lead you and find the balance between encouraging that organic kind of play making while also creating a space that invites and allows for it. W.
A real community, not just in game, but in game and out, that supports each other. And that to me is the dream. And as much of that as we can create, loving community that likes to inform. And
someone in chat said, I'm 22 and I've been playing since I was 15. All right, how many of your friends play this game? Not friends that you have met online through gaming, but people that you know in your real life that are your age. 0. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I'm saying. Like I know people like you. I have met people like that. I just it's not culturally significant
be
for people
experts
that age.
And share. That to me is online spaces.
Actually, I don't even think that's a good way to say that, because like I would say that too. Like, I played the shit out of WoW when I was a teenager, and that was like 100 years ago. So like, but I also didn't really hang out with anyone else that played WoW because I didn't tell people I played WoW because I didn't want to get shoved in a closet. You know what I mean? So like I didn't. So I was a closet WoW player, so maybe that's the same.
The realm that gives you an escape, gives you a place to hang out, gives you something to focus on
You
when
feared
maybe
that?
things
Jesus.
outside of that realm maybe not so good.
I don't know if I feared
or
getting
even
shoved
if
in the
they're
closet,
great,
but I
you
didn't
wanna
want
share it
people to
with
think I was
somebody.
lame, nah.
So I think,
Yeah.
and Ian can speak to it too, that to me is,
Dude,
broadly
playing video games
speaking,
when I was in
every
high school
decision we
100
make
years
has
ago,
that
you were
kind
just
of
a
thread
bitch, bro.
in it. And where are we going? How do we get to this space where everyone is welcome? You know, tying into how they play and the activities they want to do and who they want to do it with and even who they don't want to. The whole team is excited about this idea of we want to preserve what World of Warcraft is and what people expect. We're never going to stop doing
Hi,
things
Lily.
we know people love. But at the
Look at
same
this
time,
bitch
I
right
think
here.
we have a bigger vision simply than an MMORPG. In my opinion.
Well, Ian, do you have anything
Look
to
at this
add to
dog.
that? Or is that
Look at this fucking dog.
robustly answered?
I mean, I think, yeah, we firmly believe that our best years are ahead of us. It's
Don't call her
game
that.
design,
That's
but
literally
it's also
what
social
female
design,
dog means.
and it's trying to understand and think about, you know, how we meet a new generation where they are.
Hi, Lily.
And that's going to mean thinking outside the box in some places compared to what our game has traditionally been. But
Fat dislike on this
we're
video.
excited to keep taking big swings and to dream big and to do what we can to make that a reality.
Brilliant. I'm conscious of the time, and I know that you're building up to the launch of the expansion. Now you're doing stuff in game and having sort of getting people. So you're right in the midst of it. So I'll let you get back to it. But thank you so much, Ian. Thank you so much, Holly, for joining us. It's a fascinating to see Worldcraft, and I do honestly believe that in like 20 years' time we're going to get a load of
Hi,
retired
girly.
people just flooding back in. I'm looking forward to
Hi, sweetie.
my generation getting. I mean, a bunch of them still play, but some of them don't have as much time anymore.
All right.
So we can hang out. You can join our guild.
Yeah, interview's over. Cool. We are listening. Who's in charge? Helen Keller. I wish we didn't call it Warcraft. It sounds kind of intimidating. Holy fucking shit. Groundbreaking. That feel when the HR department takes over. How many times these idiots gonna shoot themselves in the foot? Dude, how different do you think these comments are from a normal the game business? Like, do you guys think this dude's head was spinning when he woke up one day? 10K subscriber podcast about game business. Is this make or break for GDC 9 days ago?
This week, you
Thank you to the guests for their insights. Can you give a new post interview for the High Guard devs? This one. Interview High Guard developers on dealing with the hostile oh wait, I actually really want to listen to this.
60 plus people on this team.
I met these guys. They were cool. High Guard's good. Let's see. You know, stuff like this. Split Fiction's
Every
this on.
single decision taken from his
This felt like a real proper interview from reading questions off a board. Cutting off the guest. Well done. This guy's so based. Nice perspective. It should have called High Guard War Guard. You know what I mean? Let's bring back the fucking war, bro. And then just look at this. They just got like the worst people you know to just get upset about something that is hypothetical, by the way. What the hell are they thinking? This isn't my fucking game. Fat dislike. She ruined the game and the franchise. It's a Disney cartoon right now. Dude. It's kind of hard to diagnose this because it feels a little culture war-y, bordering on a lot. But I do think it's like getting at that. It's just that thing where like there's a lot of WoW players that like miss that time in their life when they loved WoW back in the day and they attribute it to that, right? And everything that's happened in the game since is why they don't like it now. Body type 1 and type 2, that isn't for me. Fuck that, right? So it's all this pussy shit they don't like, and that's the reason the game is bad now for them. Or just not for them, it's in general. The game's fucking bad, right? Oh, Asmon reacted to it. I feel like that literally just explains all of this. These are the most Asmon viewer people of all time. All right, holy W. Cool. Oh, I'm not getting off right now. Don't hit me with the overworking. I haven't talked to you guys in a bit. There's probably some other shit going on. I hate how everything boils down to liberal versus conservative every time. I mean, there's a lot of that now, but I think a lot of it is Asmongold. And I don't mean like specifically with things that are WoW related. The biggest like conservative influencer right now, at least on Twitch, came from WoW. So like I think a lot of WoW type things get really clouded in that, because if he ever reacts to it, obviously his entire audience is going to come at it from that direction. So I think, at least from the way that we see all of it, that's what it all seems like. It boils down to that. But I think a large part of that is just because that person happens to have come from WoW. So it's always going to come down to that, basically, at least if he looks at it. That's a lot of water. Yeah, she's thirsty. Do you see Ella? Look at this dog right here. She's just absolutely sleeping right now. She's just knocked the fuck out. She's living her best life. You're dripping water. Are you fucking kidding me? Ella. Or Lily. Okay. Isn't the most viewed cinematic the Battle for Azeroth cinematic? Maybe. That one also goes crazy, though. Let's see. Yeah, it just seems... I get the whole war thing. Like, people want war. But I think a lot of it isn't really about that. You know what I mean? Like, that's not really what they're mad about. Wait, 32 million views. That's pretty huge. I think Shadowlands was another... I mean, maybe the Wrath one was... Oh, Shadowlands has literally half. Dude, maybe good point. Why did the Battle for Azeroth one have that many? I mean, it is really good. I'm thinking because of war. But yeah, Wrath only had 2 mil, fell off crazy. This was right at the end. This was when Classic came out, maybe. So like when people are coming back to Classic, maybe they would have been reintroduced to WoW for the first time in a while and then watched the current retail expansions WoW cinematic. WAD is at 38 mil. Yeah, all right. What does the W in WAD stand for? Let's talk about it. Let's fucking talk about it. Yup. Yup. You need to look at the popularity of YouTube in general. Isn't it huge? Just all the time. Right after the war within. Yup. War, bro. Actually, don't even... Let's watch this shit again. Let's remember that war, bro. Yo, when's the next Diablo season? Actually, it's probably cooked, right? It's probably coming out, like, during the race or during the expansion launch.
Is a cycle of hatred.
Unless it comes out at the end of February.
Alliances forged and broken. We have paid the price for sharing this world. And we have forgotten what makes us strong.
Yup.
Close ranks! Advance has won! Lordaeron will be ours! My king,
Yo, there's a
we
dog.
have her cornered.
Who's the dog?
Keep firing!
Jen Greymane? Okay. Yo, what? Sylvanas is a fucking beast. That's OP as fuck. You can just do that? Oh, bro. Chills. Chills, bro. Speaking of that, y'all see the Knight of the Seven Kingdoms shit last night? Also chills. No, not yet. Alright, well, it's a goddamn banger. Watch that shit.
Push forward!
Last night, it comes out on Sundays. Dude, I thought it came out on Sundays too. It comes out on Fridays. See, this is some bullshit. I'm about that war shit. What is this pussy shit Anduin is doing right now? This is bullshit. Yeah, bitch is crying.
Stand as one! For the Alliance!
See, this is when WoW lost it. You know what I mean? I miss when everyone was cool and buff and hard. All right, Dorky said, now watch this. Let's see. All right, let's get in. Let's go crazy.
Stop this! Dinath fought to save all of Azeroth. He sold us
Dorky,
out
what are you
so
doing?
the Alliance and Horde could wage war in Karzalgar.
This is that war I'm talking about.
You'll
Is this an
never
in-game cinematic?
understand. For Erethdor! The Red Dawn will rise again.
Yeah. Is it just me, or does this look poorly animated?
No!
I mean, it's not animated, right? It's like in-game WoW stuff.
Not make her a martyr. Our history will read. Faerun,
It's AI.
true daughter of the Arathi, allowed Merrin to live without her title and name. The Red Dawn vanished from the Highlands forever.
This
AI
is
slop.
not over.
Yeah. My goat. My goat. This cutscene is so bad, I thought mine was bugging. Turns out it's just terrible. Yeah, it doesn't... that cutscene was not good. AI slop in the recommended. Yeah, the T-pose at the end went crazy. Watch the WAD cinematic? Alright, bro. I bet there's gonna be no pussy shit in that one. That's when the game was great. In parentheses, all of those people hated that expansion. I don't remember the WAD cinematic at all. It's the best one? Yeah, because it has fucking war in the name. I love this expansion. Mop was better, but this expansion owns. That's golden.
Drink, Hellscream. Claim your destiny. You will all be conquerors.
I thought we killed Golden at this point.
Gul'dan
Oh no, that was
must
after.
we give in return? Everything.
Wait, WAD is time travel?
Would reject this gift.
Dude, I think Manaroth is one of the most underrated raid bosses ever. That boss owns.
Bring these mongrels here. Just to watch you die.
Dude, look at this face. One second, I paused at the wrong image. I just don't even know what to say. Coward, bro. That's woke face. Yep. Whoa, get smoked. Holy shit.
This was not our destiny. Times change. We will never be slaves! But we will be conquerors.
Look at that old ass learn more button. Look how old that shit is. Yup. Max, check out We Steal. All right. What do we got here? No. I'm not watching a Warcraft 3 cinematic, dude. Dude. Wait, what is this thing someone linked in the not WoW Steel? Or a message to the CEO of Reddit, Spez, from r/livestream fails former top mod. Oh no. Just the first 20 seconds?
Hello, Spez, Mr.
Okay. Are we doing this? Because all right. Is this satire? This is satire. It's a message from a Reddit mod. This is literally the most Reddit mod looking ass dude. It's not satire.
CEO of Reddit. I hope you have received this public video that I have created and sent to you via your email. If not,
This is fucking satire. There's no way. I don't believe you. There's literally no fucking way.
Anybody who cares about the topic in this video can get this to him in any way that you can. This video is about a topic of deadly seriousness, and that is...
There's no way. I mean, there is no way, but at the same time, there is a way because I could just believe a Reddit mod would do this non-satirically and then be like, I'm going to post this.
Of Reddit moderation and the state of your platform. But first, some background. I'm Brian, or Stale2000, or Tarot Card. I was the top moderator of your #1.
Oh my God. Are you guys are serious? It's actually real.
Gaming subreddit r/livestream fail before I was recently removed from that position by the Reddit Code of Conduct team. I became a Reddit moderator for one reason, and that is because
I want power.
I think that Reddit communities and correspondingly its moderators have massive power and influence, and for some reason, nobody seems to notice, care, or take this seriously. Least of all,
this is satire. That's from what he just said. Like,
Reddit communities and correspondingly its moderators have massive power and influence, and for some reason, nobody seems to notice, care, or take this seriously.
What? This is his YouTube channel? Yeah, I get it. I'm just saying, like,
Least of all, its moderators or the company. In this video, I will go over why I believe this, and I will also talk about a code of conduct moderation action that was taken against me due to good faith mistakes that I believe were caused by a clear lack of direct material support that the company gives its moderators. I will end the video by talking about what you, Spez, can do to fix this problem, as well as what I and other communities can do in case Reddit does not solve this very serious mismanagement problem regarding the lack of support that is given to moderators. First, I will go over the code of conduct action and why I was removed as the...
I mean, it's, if this is real, it's insane to me that there are actually people like this, but at the same time, it's not insane to me because, like, I've literally interacted with these people with WoW Discords before. But I just don't want to watch 20 minutes of this.
Top moderator...
we'll see how long I last.
Of r/livestream fail. This sounds like stupid internet drama, I know, but I'm going to talk about how this is a very clear example about how Reddit's mistakes causes very serious problems to Reddit's community and the company as a whole. Here's what happened. There was an announcement related to a live stream related game show called $1 Million Fan. It was basically a game show like Survivor or Big Brother where fans of a streamer compete in different challenges with an influencer or a streamer for
Bro, why didn't he just do this video sitting in his chair at his desk? Why is he standing up with a fucking lav mic behind a green screen desktop background? Like, what is fucking happening?
The kicker here is that there was a grand prize of $20 million, supposedly. This was supposedly going to be aired on Amazon Prime, and it was also confirmed to be including a couple of mid-sized and large streamers like Alexandra and Andrea Botez, Extra Emily, Canute, and a few others. Additionally, the opportunity was supposedly brought to these streamers by a company called Mythic Talent, which is a well-respected streamer agency that represents hundreds of live streamers. I heard about the game show a few hours after it got announced by a couple major live streamers. It sounded like the perfect type of content for a live stream fail. I mean, reality TV, game show, live streaming, gaming, that's perfect for LSF, which is about fun, crazy content about kind of live streaming gamers.
I think live stream fails is one of the worst places on earth.
So when I heard about this, I was very excited. I immediately reached out to the organizers to see if we could set up some sort of a collaboration. This collaboration would just be to get cool content on the subreddit. No, financial incentives, no moderators being paid, basically none of anything like that, just fun, cool stuff for the community in the subreddit. For collaborations, the first obvious thing that came to mind was how do we get their content on the subreddit? Either some superfans or some editors could clip some cool hype moment from the show and then post it to the subreddit. But I also had a stretch goal, and that was, what if LSF could be part of the show in some way? I don't know, there could be like a LSF-themed best clip contest. Like contestants compete in one of the kind of small challenges, they make the best clip, and then somebody kind of wins a prize.
Does being a Reddit mod make your... This is probably... I shouldn't do this, but... Does being a Reddit mod make your hair do that? Or does having hair like this make you more prone to being a Reddit mod?
as at the end. It was a stretch goal though. So I reached out to the organizers, and to my surprise, they immediately understood what LSF was, what power it had, and they even agreed to the stretch goal of like the cool competition to have in the actual show. From my perspective, this felt like one of the coolest things that a subreddit has ever done. I mean, being in a freaking reality TV show in a topic that's directly related to the subreddit, how awesome. And then, you know, maybe I could leverage this to get even more opportunities either for our subreddit or for other subreddits across the entire platform. That's how I felt at least, and that's clearly not how it worked out. After they agreed to kind of a couple of these kind of requests that I had in my stretch goal, they immediately started moving very quickly. They, you know, we wrote up an announcement and they wanted this out within like 24 hours. So we quickly worked to make an announcement together, and I posted it the next day. When I posted it, everybody in the comment section immediately yelled, scam, 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 scam. This initially didn't actually worry me because no matter what we do, people call it a scam. I mean, I've done AMAs with the Twitch CEO. People called that a scam. And I was also thinking like multiple major live streamers were involved. Mythic Talent was involved. Surely they had done their due diligence, right? Additionally, the thing that people were the most skeptical about was the $20 million grand prize. This
yeah, well, yeah, that's a fucking crazy
initially
number.
confused.
Did you say $20 million?
Me as well. But once I heard that, you know, Amazon Prime was allegedly involved, my initial concerns were assuaded. I mean, think about it. Amazon Prime has spent lots of money on tons of shows, and you know, I didn't necessarily think that the show was worth 20.
Oh, sorry. The $20 million grand prize was from the show. That makes sense. If it's like an Amazon Prime, I thought he was saying it was from the fucking live stream fails clip
$20 million,
contest.
but you know, that doesn't mean that Amazon Prime wouldn't fund it. And you know, if LSF was involved, maybe it would actually succeed. You know, maybe my involvement alone could make the $20 million kind of investment worth it. Who knows?
Okay,
at least that's
obviously
what I
he's
thought.
joking.
Now
but...
here comes the next part of the story when things get a little crazy. The next day, a major live streamer who was involved in the show, Extra Emily, said on her stream that she kind of saw all of these comments about people calling it a scam, and they even saw that, you know, LSF was involved, and this was apparently unacceptable to her, so much so that she was considering kind of dropping out of the show or kind of looking into seeing if kind of the whole thing was a scam or not. After seeing this, I brought the concerns to the organizers, and the organizers told me that they were currently in talks with the agents to resolve this, and they told me in no uncertain terms that the show was not canceled and was still going on.
So what happened? A bunch of the creators were like, if live stream fails is involved with this, I don't want to do anything with it. And then so naturally the show, or was it actually a scam?
So me being somebody who didn't really have a lot of information into the situation, and me, you know, trusting these high-powered agents who represent these multi-million-dollar kind of celebrities, I trusted that they would kind of get to the bottom of this and kind of resolve these concerns quickly. During this time period, I saw and deleted a lot of unsubstantiated claims about the show and the mod team. There were accusations that I knew to be untrue, such that, you know, the mod team had accepted bribes or, you know, had some sort of financial involvement with the show. And I knew that they were not true because I was the one who had this idea the entire time.
I don't know,
you know, from start to finish. This happened a couple days, and what I can tell you, for those who, you know, may not believe that, for most moderators, I'm a highly paid software engineer working in San Francisco. I do not need to take a couple $1,000 bribes from, you know.
Do we believe that? I'm a highly paid... I mean, I could absolutely see a highly paid software developer acting like this. But also, if you're a highly paid software developer, why do you spend your time being a fucking mod on Reddit?
Random internet scams, okay? I was doing this because I legitimately, you know, care about the subreddit, and that's why I spend my time on it. I thought it'd be kind of cool events for the sub. I'm talking about this in kind of the deleted comments because this is...
Where'd my cam
apparently
go?
some big no-no in the Reddit TOS or something, or maybe it's like an unspoken rule where if you're involved in some sort of promotion and it ends up not working out or it ends up being a scam or something, you know, if you have deleted comments that have accused it of being a scam, well that, you know, shows a cover up or some way. It shows malice or bad
really
faith or something. So that's why I'm kind of talking about this.
So when people were like, this is a scam, he deleted all those messages. And then it turned out it was a huge fucking scam. So now he looks like he was complicit. That's pretty funny.
Because this was specifically a reason that was brought up regarding why I was kicked out as a mod on a live stream fail. And finally, I want to end this part of the story by talking about how Moist Critical made a video critical of the situation. And then about 30 minutes after this kind of video got released, I got reached out by the organizers of the events and told that 5 live streamers in the event had dropped out and that therefore the event was canceled and I should take down the post. In this video that Moist Critical had that was critical of the event, Moist Critical brought up points about how an image on the marketing page was AI generated, or
wait, is it actually a scam though? Because okay, if Mythic Talent was involved and Extra Emily was going to do it, I find it highly unlikely that Mythic Talent was getting scammed, personally. Mythic may have just been misinformed. Yes, it was. Moist even talked to other agencies to scam. Okay, well, that's interesting. That's pretty bad look for Mythic Talent, honestly.
The domain name was registered in Iceland, or that basically just the whole thing. It smelled bad. That's what he did. He did this motion, and he said it smelled bad. But beyond that, it doesn't seem like he did much research. I don't think that he reached out to any of the organizers. He certainly didn't reach out to me. And I mean, I don't know if he reached out to Mythic Talent or any of the streamers. Now I want to stop people here because this is very important. And I think this is something that not a lot of people might have noticed. And that important point is that nothing in this situation has yet to be definitively proven as a scam. I repeat, there is no definitive, at least public information yet, that anything fraudulent, malicious, or illegal has happened in the situation. The only confirmed things that we have right now is that I guess there was a website, looked a little weird, there was some bad publicity, everybody called it a scam, and then a bunch of streamers dropped out, and then the event got canceled, and everybody got refunded. None of this is illegal. None of this is proved to be a scam, at least yet. Maybe I'll eat these words. And yes, in retrospect, there are certainly some things which we could call yellow flags or even red flags. But that being said, I don't want people to go into this thinking that there was some proven malfeasance or something when there really is a possibility that...
Like, okay, I don't want to do the body shaming thing, but like, obviously it's just so Reddit mod coded and everything. Like, if you have an issue with your hair like this, right? You're balding a little bit and you have a little bit left. It is of my opinion that doing the comb over, slick it down to your head thing, I think this is one of the worst possible looks you could do with what you got. You know what I mean? Like, you could literally make it into a fucking mohawk, which would look crazy. But it would look better than this. Do you know what I mean?
A lot of this could have just been kind of bad organization and things just fell through. Just because something's a bad idea, just because something is misorganized, that doesn't mean that anything illegal happened. You know, I still haven't gotten confirmation about kind of the Amazon Prime kind of a thing. I think that is the biggest unknown right now is I don't know about this supposed Amazon Prime deal, if it exists or not, because maybe they were in negotiation with them. Maybe a contract was in the works, but hadn't been signed yet.
I'm going to skip ahead to where a lot more people are viewing here.
If the situation wasn't, I guess, a scam, even though it technically hasn't been proven to be a scam yet. But despite all of that, there is still massive kind of like problems at Reddit.
Max, go to 1828. I promise it'll be worth it. Yeah, we'll do that. So there's 3 more like bumps in This Is Interesting. We're gonna watch all 3 of them
due to the lack of support that caused this. But right before I go into the specific reasons of how this happened, I want to talk about why this matters in the first place. And this matters because Reddit moderators have power. They have influence. If you were one of the people who is joking about like internet janitor duties or whatever, I'm sorry to tell you, it's funny jokes, but you are wrong. Reddit moderation does matter. Reddit moderators have control over millions of impressions per day, and nobody seems to notice or care. Let's just talk about LSF.
This isn't real.
Think of all the streamer careers that have been created because of LSF. Think about the even larger number of streamer careers that have been destroyed because of LSF, because some clip went viral about like something bad that...
Dude, my skin is crawling watching this.
I have had major live streamers who are effectively celebrities come to me and beg to kind of remove, negative posts about them. An even crazier story is the time when some Twitch employees found me in person and borderline begged me to make sure LSF is not used to destroy the multi-billion-dollar company Twitch, partially because at the time LSF was indeed being used to destroy the multi-billion-dollar company Twitch. Deservedly so, by the way. Or even just take this literal...
I don't really know how else to say this other than like I feel like people like this need to be like locked away somewhere.
Circumstance. Imagine the whole...
I don't know what you have to do to get put in prison, but something along the line of what this guy...
operation was legit. Well, guess what?
Kind of rehabilitation
One single
camp.
post on LSF caused all of the streamers to drop out and destroyed a $20 million opportunity. Sorry, Mythic. My bad. Or imagine it was, a scam through and through. Well, guess what? We were the ones to expose it and destroy it before it had the chance to cause any real harm. I mean, everybody got refunded after all.
Apparently that's not true.
Things ended up okay. Right or wrong, you can think I'm a good moderator or a bad moderator. You can think that LSF helps streamers or is the bane of their existence in the entire industry. But please, don't for a single second...
This is the type of person people expect when you ask people what WoW players are like. Wait, really? No, I mean... I think maybe back in the day... There are 1.2k people who subscribe to this guy on purpose, by the way. Oh, that's amazing.
Pretend like it doesn't matter. And that's just one subreddit. Now back to me. I was one of your most passionate users. I was in the Reddit partnership program from the start. I took advantage of every opportunity that I could. I had meetings with kind of the Reddit community managers. I begged them for help and kind of partnership opportunities at every chance that I could.
Dude, no one cares. You're the fucking worst.
And I was blown off every single time.
Yeah, because you're the worst,
I got nothing
man.
out of it. The community managers never helped me. As, nice as the guy was, I think he had basically no power to help me. I was one of the only moderators out there who tried to grow my community, who had any ambition, who tried to work with the company or help
You didn't care about growing the community. You just cared about being in power.
Subreddits or help the company that
You cared, because you wouldn't have wanted to grow the community if you weren't the guy. You had to be the guy.
It didn't matter. I failed, and it failed because of how mismanaged and how little support Reddit, the company, gives to moderators. So let's circle back. Let's go back to the moderation situation. This is a very key important point, so please pay attention. None of this would have happened.
All right, I'm going to skip ahead to the last part you said was worth it.
Like a talent manager, event budget is barely useful. No, they need real material support. That means access to anything that like a talent manager would give an actual celebrity. So an access to a bounty board or ad deals or lawyers or event organizers or professionals or anything that actually matters. To summarize, Reddit moderators should be treated like celebrities or influencers.
I'm all the way back to this is satire. I cannot fucking believe that he's being serious.
Not because they or anything that actually matters. To summarize, Reddit moderators should be treated like celebrities or influencers, not because they deserve respect or anything, but because they actually have real power and influence. I mean, if not for the world, at least over your $50 billion company, maybe if you gave them actual support, it could go from 50 billion to 100 billion. I mean, it certainly deserves to be that high up for how much traffic Reddit gets. So why have
I actually kind of agree with that. Like, I think moderators probably do have a lot of impact on these forums, and that if you wanted to grow your company, like everything he's saying kind of tracks. It's just like, you can't be giving people like this money and power. It's like in the Bible or something, or like the Constitution somewhere. Like someone just had a, like, you could just meet this guy one time and just be like, nope, we're not doing that.
you solve this problem already, Spez? Is it because you're out of touch and you aren't aware of the problem? Is it because Reddit is a bloated mess and they can't ship products? No, I think the real issue is that Reddit is held hostage by the negativity and toxicity of its user base, and it doesn't really have the freedom to make bold and important and transformative decisions that could save the company. If you agree with anything that I said, Spez, well, you're in luck. I live in San Francisco, and I would be happy to talk to you in person or any Reddit product manager.
Bro,
or
it is probably terrifying to talk to you in
employee
person.
at all.
Bro, can you imagine being locked into a conversation with this person in a room and you couldn't immediately leave? Oh my fucking God. Oh my God.
You know, or on a call or something. That's my pitch to you, Spez. The rest is to the community. To the community, Spez and Reddit, they're almost certainly not going to fix any of this. All of this is up to us to solve. For anyone who...
Why does he have a purple aura around him?
This message has resonated with and wants to solve this problem, well, I have created a subreddit called r/SubAlliance. SubAlliance will be a nonprofit, volunteer, community-based initiative to solve all of the problems that I have laid out. We will create tools and resources so good, so useful, that everybody will have to work with us. Think talent agency, but for subreddits.
All right. Reddit r/SubAlliance. A group of subreddits to collaborate on high-quality events and initiatives. Actually, this probably isn't going to be very interesting. Because I doubt it's being moderated, right? Or I doubt it's being heavily moderated. Dude, I actually kind of feel bad for this dude for many reasons, but one of them is this dude read the response to this. Okay, do you think it's more likely that he read the response to this and deeply looked inside and was like, bro, I gotta change, and that's really sad because it hit him hard? Or do you think this person's mind could never be changed about anything? I'm guessing it's that one, because like, how could you have gotten to this point if...
You have the big ideas, you have the vision, you have the crazy cool things that you want to do, and we handle the logistics. Materially, that means connections to major companies, organizers, or
how can you think this?
So, and access to a bounty board, or ad deals, or lawyers, or event organizers, or professionals, or anything that actually matters. To summarize, Reddit moderators should be treated like celebrities or influencers, not because they deserve respect or anything, but because they actually have real power and influence.
Wow. Max, don't look up what community he comes from. I'm not going to look it up, but just tell me. there you go. One of the comments, biblically accurate Reddit moderator. Yep. The CIA couldn't have gotten this out of me with a car battery. These comments are pretty good. Did he actually say this is a topic of deadly seriousness?
I mean, public video that I have created and sent to you via your email. If not, I hope anybody who cares about the topic in this video can get this to him in any way that you can. This video is about a topic of deadly seriousness.
It just isn't, though, right? Like, people aren't gonna die. It's just not fucking real, bro. Wow, that's crazy that that exists. He made a follow-up video? I mean, okay. What even could that be? 10 days ago, the 4 layers of irony. Okay. A Reddit moderator's response to Moist Critical. No, I don't care. A message to Mizkif from a live stream fails mod. Okay. What actually I'm interested in this.
Hello, Miskiff.
I'm a
moderator of r/livestream fail, and I saw your comments about LSF from a few days ago. You've correctly noticed a real problem. LSF has a content diversity issue. It's currently a lot of political drama from a few creators, and my goal is to figure out a way to shake things up so that there's some new and interesting content on the subreddit. But first, here's part of the reason why we're having this current problem.
I don't care. All right. Good stream, fellas. I probably will be streaming more in the upcoming weeks. So I know I said that 2 weeks ago, but since 2 weeks ago, I have gotten sick twice and then got a concussion, and then my girlfriend got sick. So it's kind of been crazy as fuck around here. Low key. If you're gonna say I believe it when I see it, I think that's fair, but also like I legit have actually had an insane amount of shit going on last couple weeks. And that is being deadly serious.